away.
Right. Yeah, just send it with Brandon. He's there. So
There
yeah.
you go.
All right, you guys. So welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you guys are all here. So if you don't know me, my name is Courtney Miracle. So I'll share a little bit about myself. I have been a health junkie, so you guys are gonna laugh. I'm gonna tell you why this is why I need peptides. So I started my fitness journey coaching or teaching step aerobics in 1995. So that's why I need peptides now. I told somebody that story the other day, and they were like, seriously? I was like, yeah, that's how I got here. So in that journey, my husband and I opened a gym about 15 and a half years ago. I've been on a long health journey doing all of the things. I'm very holistic with what I do and what I believe. And it's not just what we put in our bodies, but it's what we're thinking, what we're feeling. I'm a breathwork facilitator. My own story, I had an eating disorder for a good majority of my life. I went on a long healing journey, and I'm always looking for how do I support my own body? But how do I support my clients, right? Is that what I'm starting to see as we get older, as we just realized, like that was 30 years ago. My high school reunion is this year, and I'm not sure how that's happening. But really, how do we support our bodies in all the different ways, right? And so I'm a big believer in nervous system and all of that kind of stuff, but also what can we do to make ourselves feel better? So my story with peptides, my mom she took osteoporosis medicine a couple years ago and she lost her front two teeth. They thought it was cancer. Turned out it wasn't cancer. And after they removed her teeth, which was very traumatic, like losing your front teeth is, that's not okay. So she joked that she's like, thank gosh, it's still okay to wear a mask. So she wore a mask all the time because she couldn't have any teeth for like months. So it was crazy. But anyway, so I had a buddy reach out and he's like, hey, have you ever heard about peptides? And I was like, no, not really. Like, so he's like, I had a shoulder injury. I took BPC 157. It totally healed my shoulder. You should look at it. So where he sent me I was like, well, where do you get them? How do I find out more? And he sent me this like black market thing. And then I was like, that feels not okay to me and definitely not okay to tell my mom who's just gone through a fair amount of trauma with like her mouth and surgery. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I'm glad it worked, but like that just doesn't work for me. So I've known about peptides. I've actually like subscribed to some of the black market texts and I've looked at them and I'm like, it says for research only. It says not for human or animal consumption. And I'm like, I don't think I want to put that in my body, right? So I've known about peptides, but I haven't gone deep down the hole. So about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. So Rachel's been like kind of reaching out, like, "Hey, are you doing anything with peptides? Do you know about peptides?" And I was like, "No, whatever. I'm too busy." All the things that we say. And so finally, so I'm 48. I still play soccer. I own my gym. I work out every day. So I'm healthy. So in December, I went to take a shot. I was playing soccer. It was the end of the game, so I wasn't cold. There was none of that stuff going on. I pulled my leg back to shoot and my hip flexor just like let go. And like I watched my leg like wobble forward and I was like, what on earth? And it was awful. Like I couldn't get out of my car. So I had that. That was super weird. So I did a bunch of like self PT on that. Um, and then about 3 months ago, I was playing soccer and my husband, I think, broke his heel playing soccer. I started having this weird foot pain and I've had plantar fasciitis. So it felt kind of like that, but not really. And I blamed it on him that it was it was sympathy pain. Like we are the kind of that connected, but like I was like, this is dumb because it just started hurting after his. There's no reason. Um, I can rest it and then it hurts again. And then I play and then it hurts again. And it makes me angry because I like to run and I want to be able to play. And so finally I went down the rabbit hole. I started seeing all these things about BPC 157 and TB 500, and I was like, all right, I need to get on this. So I have a very small story now. I am 4 doses in, so they are injections. I'm 4 doses in, and my foot has not felt this good in 3 months. So it is not pain-free yet, but it is definitely like, so I haven't run. I signed up for a mud run with some girls from the gym and my daughter. And it's 3 miles of running. It was Saturday. Friday, I was like, this is probably a terrible idea, but we're gonna go for it and we're gonna see. And I made it about 2 miles before I really started limping, which was not good. So my other leg's not happy, but I'd taken my first dose Thursday, second one Saturday morning. Sunday I could barely walk. I was in a ton of pain. Like I can't put pressure on it. Monday I felt pretty good. I managed to back squat 165 pounds and I weigh like 110 and I haven't really been squatting. So that was cool. And then yesterday I started to realize that like when I go down the stairs, I'm like bracing, like I have to put my hands on because when I take that step down and I did that and it didn't hurt. And I was like, huh. So cool things that I'm noticing. And I love that it's happening quickly, right? And I've also had this weird shoulder pain. It's totally gone. So that is my peptide story. But you guys are here to learn a little bit more about peptides. We're going to share some stories, just kind of educate, right? Like I shared with my mom, is we are all partnered with a company that's backed by doctors where you know what you're getting. You've got doctors in your pocket. And that was the thing that made me take the leap because I didn't want some black market product. So feel free to ask questions as we go, but that's a little bit of my story and who I am. From here, I'm going to pass it on to my friend Blair. Blair has an amazing story that she's going to share with us.
Thanks, Cordy. I hadn't heard your whole story before. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And I love that. First of all, I love that people reach out. You guys are going to hear I have a cancer story, and I'm always so thankful. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, that sounds crazy, right? But it gets you starting to research and learn and
Mhm.
grow. And it's really important that we take our own health into our own hands and research and learn for ourselves. So I love that. I actually just got off another Zoom right before this, our educational series that we have with this company. And there was a woman on there who now she just helps people with like what blood panels they should get because
Mhm.
most of us don't even know that. She was talking about thyroid health and all these things, and just love that we're getting more information out to people. So thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Blair. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and my journey with peptides actually started back in 2020, 2021 when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And it was during the COVID. And again, I really took my own health into my own hands. I knew something was wrong. My doctor kept telling me at OBGYN for 2 months straight that there was nothing wrong, that these were menopause signs, and that, I would be fine until I pushed and pushed. And we finally found that I had a mass the size of a baby's head on my ovary. And that led us down the path of finding out that it was cancer, going through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, surgeries, and all the things. So the first round of chemo, I was so sick, as you can imagine. And the next morning I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to deal with this for the next 6.5 months. I'm going to figure out a way to feel good during this time. And so I started researching, learning, and even started working with a functional doctor and started utilizing other modalities to help in the holistic space that were okay with my oncologist. So, like red light therapy and doing acupuncture and certain herbs. And I also went completely vegan because that was something I had read about, that the hormones in my particular cancer. So did all these things. 3 weeks later, for my next round of chemo, I didn't throw up at all. Actually felt great. The only negative thing I can say is that I was bald, which was awful, and I felt tired. Like that was it. Actually, a lot of my friends were even like, Blair, you're so beautiful right now. Your skin's glowing. You look amazing. So besides the fact that I had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and no hair, everything else is actually pretty good. And so that led me down this path of holistic health and functional medicine and integrative health and really learning for myself. And I decided if I was going to be stuck at home because I wasn't allowed to be out because of COVID and my immune system was down, that I was going to spend this 6 months really in like investing in my health and my family's health and learning about prevention and trying to keep this cancer away because you have a high risk with ovarian cancer, just like breast cancer, of it coming back. So, long story short, peptides came up in every single study I read. And at the time, my oncologist was like, nope, can't do that while we're doing this. And we'll talk about it when you're done. So, as soon as I was done, I was immediately thrown into menopause, literally immediately. I had every possible symptom you could think of. It was crazy: itchy skin, itchy ears, hip pain, foot pain, like 10 to 20 hot flashes a day, irritability, anxiety, which I used to be a kindergarten teacher. Like, it takes a lot to make me irritated. And it was like somebody talked too loud in my house. I want to chop their head off. It was like the weirdest thing. And I also was feeling, if I'm being honest, really blue because here I was. I just fought cancer. I won. I should be high on life. I should be feeling amazing. And I actually felt worse after than I did during. So I talked to my oncologist and said, I think I want to start on peptides. And he said, I need you to wait 8 to 12 months. I need a baseline. Just wait. I don't know enough. So I did what he asked me. And in that 8 months, I was miserable. I tried all kinds of things, holistic herbs, supplements, nothing worked. Even my functional doctor was like, I don't know, Blair, like you just need peptides. And I gained 30 pounds in 8 months. And I'm 5 feet tall. So like that took me from a 2'4" to a 10'12". And I was miserable. I didn't feel good. My cholesterol was going up. And so when I went in 8 months later, I went in every 4 months, but this was my second checkup at 8 months. And I told my doctor I wasn't feeling good. And he checked everything and he goes, well, you have really high cholesterol. That's a side effect of the estrogen blocker we have to put you on post cancer. So I'm just going to put you on a statin. And I was like, okay, hold on. There's a side effect for what you just put me on. Now you're going to put me on statin. There's a side effect for that. He's like, I know it's like this horrible cycle you're going to be in for the rest of your life. I'm like, well, I'm going to try peptides first. And he was like, okay, you know what? I'll let you do that. So fast forward, first we started with NAD and glutathione. So NAD is cellular regeneration, anti-aging. Tony Robbins calls it the fountain of youth, and it helps with mood, energy, and mental clarity specifically. So a lot of people are concerned about cellular regeneration, but I knew at that moment that my cells were healthy because we had had multiple tests and I was cancer free. So why not replicate good cells, right? So started on that, and I also started on glutathione, which is a master antioxidant, which helps your body to detox naturally, also helps to fight off free radicals from getting into your system. And anybody who is in like basically 40 or older, men too, but especially women who are in perimenopause, menopause, or if you have the MTHR gene, your body just doesn't know how to detox anymore. And so it's really important that you take glutathione. So I took those two together. By the third injection, 90% of my menopause symptoms were gone. Anxiety gone, irritability gone, itchy skin, hot flashes went down to like one or two a day. It was the craziest thing I'd ever experienced. And so I was like, okay, believer, like what's next? And so the next thing she put me on was semaglutide, which is a GLP-1. And I'll be honest, she wanted to start me with that right away. And I said no, because I was scared. That was the only one I had read some negative things about. And that was because of what was going on in the medical community post COVID, where a lot of big pharma companies were selling these pre-filled pens that you guys might have heard about. And people were just unfortunately overdosing because there wasn't enough education, there wasn't enough help, and it's not a compound pharmacy where you can really, play and tweak and find your own sweet spot. So my functional doctor said, Blair, I've been prescribing this for 18 years. This is nothing new. It has helped so many of my clients. Anybody who has high cholesterol, this is always what we start on first. So I said, okay, I trust you. So we started on it 6 months later. I was dropped 33 pounds, I swear, of inflammation. But the best part was I felt incredible and my blood work proved it. My cholesterol went down, my thyroid health was better, my A1C was better, my cardiac health, because there's different ways they can check that, was better. And my kidneys and livers were enzymes were my liver enzymes were like crazy after chemo. This finally healed that. And the best part was my blood marker for my cancer. I actually get this blood test done now every 6 months. It basically is an inflammation marker test. It was 168 when I had cancer, 20 to 25 after cancer. And since I've been on these products, these peptides, it's been 7 or 8 for the last 3 years. So I am somebody who is very much like what Courtney said, that guy reached out to her. Like that is me now. I share with everybody the power of these peptides, but I am really picky. And I'm so glad, Courtney, that you said no to the research grade, because this is why I'm on a mission to share peptides with people and share high efficacy, good quality peptides, from making sure that people know to look for NABP certification and things like that. Because if you choose to go the research grade route, there can be free radicals because they are not required by law to purify their peptides. They're still in research grade. So yeah, you get a better price, but they haven't been purified, which means there could be heavy metals in it. And then you're injecting yourself with heavy metals, which can cause cancer or lots of other autoimmune issues. So I am on a mission to share with everybody I can, because they really are healing. And like Courtney said about BPC 157, it healed my husband's back. He had all kinds of arthritis in his spine. And we tried all kinds of different modalities for that, including all kinds of different crazy new research that's out there, everything but surgery. He did not want to do surgery. And really, the last thing that we did was what my functional doctor was like, can you just try BPC 157? You've seen what these peptides have done for Blair. Will you be willing to try it? He got on it, and within 6 weeks, he was feeling good again. By week 7, he was running. By week 8, he was playing golf again. And that's been a year and a half now. And he still takes it 3 times a week, every single week, because it is so amazing for him. So thanks for letting me share.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I love all these stories. And it just, I think it's what I've come to believe is there's so many of us that feel like we've lost hope in where we're at, of like, oh, this is just what it feels like to age. This is just what menopause feels like. This is just what, and it's like, that's just not true. And I'm with you on this mission of like, we need to share this, because I know how many friends I have that are, they're out for weeks when they're doing the things and they just don't feel good, even though they're doing a lot of the things right. So thank you so much. All right, I want to pass it now to my friend Rachel. Hello, Miss Rachel.
Hi, that's me. I'm the one who was bothering Courtney
Thank you
every
for
couple
that.
of weeks. Um, But my story actually began a year ago, essentially today. And I am, thank you, Bears. I am someone who actually has been in health and fitness my whole life as well, very similar to Courtney. I got my degree in the late 90s as well from college in corporate wellness and community health education. And so I was in the aerobics and all that type of stuff too. And I always say the food pyramid had the 12 grains at the top. That's how old people, how people don't know how old I am. So it's been a journey, things change as we go, and I've always been kind of going with the flow as to what's happening, and then we figure out that we weren't supposed to have, those low fat wheat thins. They weren't as great as we thought, to eat those all day, and so it's been a journey over this time frame. But leading up to me using peptides, previously I'd been probably in the best shape of my life. I lived at the gym were my friends, right? People say, "Well, what do you do? What's your hobby?" The gym. The gym is my hobby. Those are the only friends I have, right? But for a while and a couple of years, it was like I was going and I was so fatigued after and during and after my workouts. And I would do the workout and I would just come home and I would either be in bed the rest of the day or taking a nap. And that wasn't like me at all. Typically, I was doing a 60-minute intense workout and then going for a jog afterwards. And I just felt incredible. But at some point in time, those things started to change to the point where I was like, I think I need some testing. So I did do some hormone testing. I realized that I had like zero cortisol, which was a lot of the problem, but I had been through a lot of stress prior to that. So my story is really a perfect storm stress story, which, as we know, when your stress is very, very high, too high, your hormones get out of whack, your gut then gets out of whack, and it's all connected. So for me, it ended up just being this storm inside of my body. And like Blair, probably over about 9 months, I gained 30 pounds. I could barely get out of bed. I was having histamine reactions. I was getting rashes. I was flushing. I was throwing up. I did not know what was going on with me, but I was so sick. And finally, August of last year, I told my functional medicine person, because I had been taking supplements, trying to get my estrogen, processed out and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm starting a GLP-1. I've been researching it for like a year. The only thing I regret is that I did not start a year prior. I am just so mad at myself. But like a lot of people, it's like, well, we gotta read about this. We gotta look into this. And a whole like almost year passed where I could have felt better, because what I found out was what's coming. That when I started my GLP-1, I realized very quickly that it wasn't going to be just about weight loss for me. I knew if I could get my weight under control and this inflammation and this reaction that was happening to me, that I could get back into the old me. Hopefully, I was crossing fingers. I didn't have any idea. I really didn't even know anyone who was doing a GLP-1 at that time, except for Blair's friend, Beth, and then Blair. And they started talking about it on Facebook. And I was like, this is a sign. If this works for me, I am going to talk about it and I'm going to tell people and help retrain their mind a little bit more about what this really is and really could do for you, so that they're not, having this fear about it. Within my first week, my stomach was completely calm. And that was something that was not something I had been dealing with for a while. I could hardly eat. I was having discomfort after eating, cramping, bloating. It was like, how was I gaining all this weight yet I could barely eat? Well, first week in, Tom, my boyfriend, said to me, "You just have not complained about your stomach lately." And I was like, okay, I know I complain a lot, but you're right. I hate feeling bad. This just is my thing. Like, I live on feeling good because I know how short life is, and I just cannot handle having days where I feel like knocked out. Um, And so I did start to lose the weight, but that stomach thing was life-changing for me. It did allow me to actually just eat and not have fear of eating. A couple of months passed, and I really started to notice that I wasn't having as much of my allergic reactions. And again, I'm not allergic to anything. So what was happening was, again, that storm of estrogen, histamines, that also causes anxiety and panic attacks, by the way, and this is all a part of perimenopause. So if anyone wants to talk to me about that off of this, you can. I know way more about that stuff than I wish that I ever did. But I will just say that the GLP-1 calmed that for me. Then I cycled in glutathione to help my liver detox and to help it get the histamine, the estrogen out, and everything else that had been going on with me. Added in NAD because I was encouraged to get off of caffeine for another thing that was happening to me. I was having bladder pain syndrome that started along with that. And I thought, oh my gosh, get off of caffeine. You've got to be kidding me. But I loved the idea because I thought, if I could just be someone who had natural energy, how amazing would that be? I've never been that person before. I've always been like a sluggish person. Um, I started NAD, and probably within about 6 weeks, I would say, I started to just come back alive again. But the real kicker was about a month later, I had bought BPC 157 for my boyfriend. He's a paramedic firefighter. He has fallen through ceilings. He has broken his back and his neck in football. He has ruined his body. And I thought, I'm getting him BPC for his body. Well, what did he do? He let it sit in the fridge because he didn't want to take another, injection. But so I started it. I stole it. And I had no idea that it was going to help me so much. Weeks into it, I'm telling you, I had like this lifting of my, I don't even know what to call it, but it was like I was in a very dark place, but I couldn't even get myself out of it. It wasn't like I could just wake up positive and, there was something terribly wrong. And between these four peptides working together inside of my body, everyone saw it happen. They witnessed it. My mom said, Rachel, I haven't heard you talk with this type of energy in your voice in a very long time. My son even said, sorry. My son even said, Mom, you're back. Sorry. And it's just things started happening to me. And that's when I decided I really had to start reaching out and telling people. The
Don't be
thing with
sorry.
my son really like throws me off. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
It's been a long 3 years. And so the fact that I had that happen to me, and I don't really know if it was the order of the peptides and all these things happening, but that's when I decided to put my name behind this and not waste any more time not telling people about it. And that's actually when I reached out to Courtney a little bit more aggressively and said, I got to get you in on this because it's amazing. So, and I will say with my boyfriend, he has lost 40 pounds. One thing I like to mention about him, just to throw his story in there, is that he has a lot of body discomfort from his line of work. And so the muscular discomfort and just all of that type of stuff. I mean, helps carry like 400-pound people on a weekly basis, up and down stairs, things like that. That has gotten better for him. His asthma has gotten better for him. His snoring disappeared within probably 1 week. And his weight loss was slow. I'm just admitting his weight loss was slower than mine, which is not typical. But all of our bodies are different. And just the fact that he gets zero sleep, so his cortisol is all over the place, his fight or flight is constant, he has PTSD. You might think that he's a mess, but he's an amazing person. He just puts it together every single day. And the fact that I could put him on these peptides and he would benefit from them makes me feel so good. We just started him on the tesamorelin, ipamorelin a couple of weeks ago. So that is our newest peptide for just really helping to activate that human growth hormone, helping to get rid of the visceral fat around the organs. So good, so important. And that is something, the other thing is that he really struggles with sleep. So I will report, since he started, his sleep has gotten better. And that's all I could hope for. Nothing has worked for his sleep until this. So we're doing good over here, and I appreciate having me share my story and getting emotional. But it's definitely something that I'll never forget. And now I'm just on a mission to share it with everybody.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's crazy when people start to notice, like, oh, you're back. Because I'm sure they weren't saying to you, like, oh, you're not really yourself anymore,
No,
right?
they weren't.
Nobody's telling us that, right? And for kids to notice, I think that's the kids are on your kids are, well, they're not much older than mine, but they're honest, right? Like I put on lipstick today and Carson goes, I see why you don't like pink. That doesn't look good. And I was like, thanks, babe. And she goes, I go, I'm gonna wipe it off. She goes, no, keep it on. I was like, you just told me it looks bad, right? But I think there is, because as moms, as parents, right? Like we want to be that best example. And when we don't feel good, we can't show up that way. And I think that's what's so cool about this and so amazing. So, Blair, can I bring you back on for a second? Can you explain to everybody what is a peptide, right? Like we know what they do now, but like what's the fifth grade version of what is a peptide?
Yep.
And how does it work in our body?
They're just a string of branch amino acids. That's it inside of our body. So if it's strung together and it's 50 or less, it's a peptide. If it's more than 50, it's a protein. And we have like thousands of them in our body, which is so interesting. And I think most of us are most familiar with collagen, right? But that's actually collagen's very interesting because it's literally on the cusp of actually being a protein in your body because that's why we have to take it orally. We can't inject ourselves with it or take it lots of other ways. It's really just oral or like topical, right, on your face. So, yeah, peptides are like little signals in your body. And so when you inject yourself with it, this is one of my favorite ways of explaining it. It's like bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, right? Like we all are familiar with testosterone. If you put testosterone back into your body knows what that is. It's familiar with it and it goes, "Oh, okay." And it works with it properly. Where when you put maybe a like amoxicillin or something like that into our body, it's foreign. We don't know. So our body might help one thing, but it could also upset other things in your body. So when you and put a peptide into your body, it's healing and it's regenerative. And they actually can stack on top of each other. So the more peptides you take, the more healing and regenerative they are, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I was like, we didn't really talk about that. So yeah, just to kind of close this out, you guys, if you have any questions, you can drop those in. I'm gonna share my screen really quick just so we're all partnered with a telehealth company because again, we don't want to talk about peptides and send you guys to the black market and have you wonder what you're getting and end up with some really bad stories, which we definitely have heard, right? So let me share my screen. So the company that we've all partnered with is LEMD. So you can go on here. There's so much amazing value in here. So we're talking longevity, which again, it's funny because I had a post pop up yesterday, and it was talking about health, and the title of it, it was from last year, and it said, "Want to be more impactful? Don't die." So that like I was like, oh, so like the longer you're here, the more impact you can have on the world, right? So you guys can go here. So the person that invited you to this call, get back with them. They can share tons of resources, but you get with them and make sure you get their link. But you can go on here, you can read. There's a study after study. Ellie also has a YouTube channel that has so much information. And that's where, so when I go into something, I don't like dip my toe. I'm like, every chance I can get to learn, I'm learning. So I have like listened to all of, and I love that there's so much education and it's honest and it's truthful and it's so incredible. So yeah, so we appreciate you guys, but you can go here, you can look at all the stuff. They do have a skin serum, which I'm pretty excited about. But what happens is that you can they'll do a questionnaire, it goes through medical review. So there are doctors looking at it, they're approving it, they're making sure that it doesn't counteract with anything else you have going on. So you can feel really comfortable. And if you have questions, they're there. You can reach out and you can get those answers without, again, feeling like, oh, I got this crazy vial of something and I don't know what to do about it. So, yeah, so I'll stop my share. Does anybody have any questions? There is a rain delay for those of you that are at Westy Soccer. Everybody was like, I'm at soccer practice. I just texted my husband. I was like, oh, I hope you're still close. So
I'm heading over there
I
now.
figured you might be. I was like, Dan, did you know that? All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. Please reach out if you have questions. We have tons of resources we can share, and we just so appreciate you guys taking your time. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.